Lager.
Holy crap, it's a it's a vertical shooter, a shmup, that I actually like. This is Vapor Trail, Hyper Offense Formation, also known as Kuga, Operation Code Vapor Trail in Japan. The game was developed by Data East, originally for the arcades, came out in 1989. And then in 1991, it saw ports to the Japanese Sega Mega Drive and the North American Sega Genesis. This is a vertical shooter, similar to 1941, which is another, shooter that I actually liked. And I think part of it is the realism, being based on more realistic planes rather than futuristic space vehicles or, spaceships from other planets, like most shmups are. This one's also pretty much based on real planes. The Valkyrie in this game, which is the slow, sort of powerful plane, is clearly based on an A-10 Thunderbolt 2. I mean, that's what got me hooked initially, right? But the music, oh man, listen to this music. The music in this game is outstanding. Unfortunately, there's not enough of it. They use the same song for every level. You've got different, music for in the menus and, boss fights, but the main song when you're playing through the levels is the same for every level. So that kind of sucks. That's one complaint with this game. Otherwise, the game's awesome. The controls are awesome. The power-ups are awesome. I love that you've got 3 different jets. and they all have different capabilities. You know, one's faster but less powerful, one's slower and it's more powerful, and then there's one that's kind of in the middle, the main, you know, ship that it starts you off. The Sylph is their mid-range plane. I think the Sylph kind of looks like maybe like an F-14 with the wings back. The third jet is like the Salen, and it's the most agile. It's very quick. It's not very powerful in shooting in front of it, but it's always got guns behind it as well. Some of the other planes, I think with power-ups you can do that, but this one by default, it's like always doing that. The Salen looks a lot like the X-29 to me, with those forward swept wings. And I think the Russians had a fighter jet, you know, at the time that also had forward swept wings. It seemed like in the 60s or the 70s, that was kind of a thing that a lot of people were trying. It makes the jet very agile. Hard to fly. It's very unstable, but it makes it very agile. So that makes sense. Again, all three planes in this game look like they could be real planes or based on real planes. And that's true with the enemy planes too. I've noticed a lot of them look like they're, you know, like B-1 Lancers with the retracting wings. You got little ones that look like they're Harriers, and it almost seems like they're hovering around. And, you know, even just the planes on the ground, everything looks like it's based on real-life planes. Kind of like 1941, except this would be like the Cold War version. So yeah, the game's not too difficult. I mean, I suck at shmups. I rarely play them. And, you know, in this one I can get to like level 4 or level 5. And I think there's only like 6 levels. So I can get pretty far in this one. And that's, I guess, partially the reason I like it. And maybe it's a good shmup for beginners to get into them. But yeah, again, it's got awesome graphics. I love the design of all the planes. I love the music. Just a great game overall. We got some serious slowdown here. This does not happen on a real Genesis. I'm playing this on the Hyperkin Mega Retron HD. It's a little thing that just plays Genesis games with HDMI. And it's usually pretty good, but for whatever reason in this game it gets some serious slowdown when there's a lot of things on screen happening. Which is crazy. This is not an emulation-based, software emulation-based system. This is like a Genesis on a chip clone style system. So it's strange to see this amount of slowdown. Again, I don't think I've seen slowdown in other games, and I've played some pretty demanding games on this thing. I played that MiG-29 3D flight sim on this thing, and it handled that pretty much at the same speed as a real Genesis. Yeah, but in this game there is some serious slowdown that you can see. It's so bad it's almost funny. But it comes and goes. You know, I only had this issue a few times, but strange nonetheless. This game is pretty rare. It's pretty expensive. From what I've seen, loose copies are going for like $60, and complete copies are going for like $200. So I don't recall ever seeing this in person. This is what the US cover art looks like, and the Japanese cover art I used for the thumbnail, I thought it looks better. It definitely looks cooler. It's a generic looking game. If I saw this cover, I would assume it was more like, you know, like that F-22 or MiG-29, like flight simulator style games that I have. I wouldn't assume it's, you know, a vertical shmup with power-ups. It does not look like that by the cover. It's a very generic looking cover. And so, I don't know, I guess the game didn't sell very well, which is crazy because this is an awesome game. I have never heard of it, never seen it before. I just kind of stumbled across this one randomly going through games on my EverDrive, and I'm glad I did. This is, again, one shmup I actually really like. Anyways, that is Vapor Trail. Definitely recommend this one if you're into shmups, and if you think you might be getting into them, I think this is a good one for beginners.